Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Robles' Renegades, and as you can see, we have a bit of stuff today. I got a little carried away over the last few days and decided to just make a ton of figures, some of which I've shown on Instagram, Blue Jay Actual on that. This is pretty much more Call of Duty stuff, plus a GTA item, plus talking about the new Steel Web Ghost figure from Grindstone Toys, and a custom Action Force item and something to go with that. So I actually am going to start with the Grind Force Ghost figure, which is a part of their O-Ring construction G.I. Joe Real American Hero inspired figure line, call sign Longbow. He has 2 removable landmines on either side of his backpack, a laser rifle, a what appears to be jetpack, the same sort of 2-prong knife that came with the Wolf Trooper and the Wolf Trooper Skeletron O-Ring figure, as well as a action figure stand, and a sort of pseudo-holographic shield, which I don't know if it shows up on camera, but it actually is hiding a pair of my fingers, or at least the figure's leg, and slightly shows my finger. As far as I'm aware, I've heard this is based off of real military technology that was being developed, something with acrylic shields having cuts a specific way or angled a specific way to give off the illusion of bending light around a subject to make them pseudo-invisible, but I can't remember if that's entirely accurate or if my memory is just screwing around again. But yeah, this is the Steel Web Ghost figure. It was one of their deluxe figures, I believe. I think I have the box close by. This is the packaging it came in. It was 100. There was no figure tray to remove. The figure and the accessories were just loose inside of each of the bubbles, which is 100% fine. I actually kind of like that when it comes to these packages. While I never grew up with Real American Hero, it just feels a little bit more accurate to how they would have been made at the time. Then, of course, that beautiful box art. And it says right here includes... Oh, it's an SMG, not a laser rifle. Type N78 SMG, Venom Blade, Backpack, Mines, and Stealth Shield. There is the faction logo on the front, Steel Web, and the operative call sign in, I hope that's Chinese, and the name in English, Steel Web Infiltrator. More beautiful box art, Grindstone Toys logo, O-Ring style, or Go-Ring system, pardon me, and the file card for this Steel Web Infiltrator. I am not going to be cutting any of these. The box art is just way too pretty. Oops. Pardon me, I had to pick up a shotgun. The next figure I'm going to show off is based off of a character from the recent Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 title, or Call of Duty title, Modern Warfare 2 2022, and that is Sergeant Rudolfo Parra, aka Rudy. I got the head from HFC Customs on Instagram, and as you could see, it is a really good likeness to the physical actor. There we go, I had to turn on my extra light. There is a really good likeness to that to the original actor. And I really think this is one of his best cut sculpting jobs to date. I even decided to be a little more adventurous and try painting in some irises and irises along with the pupils, and I think this is actually one of my favorite eye jobs I've done recently. He is made with a Desert Condor body armor vest, as you can see via the patch right here. And he also has pieces of Sidewinder's webbing kit. He has the standard microphone that came with the figure removed, and it has been replaced with the small radio and handset, along with the 3 mag pouches. He also comes with the modified M4 rifle, with, I'm believing, an integrally suppressed muzzle or barrel, along with a angled foregrip and flat top. He also comes with, I believe that is a CZ. If I'm incorrect, please let me know in the comments. I would like to be more accurate with my terminology. And he uses Sidewinder's body. His body, his belt, pretty much everything but the head, weapons, and vest are from the Sidewinder figure, which is actually one of my favorite figures. But yeah, he comes with the honey badger, which I remember. I think I posted that in the super chats, that it would be super cool to see one of the honey badger rifles, and he came with that. He came with a honey badger rifle, and I was so freaking excited. I knew that I needed to get a couple of these. Not only that, but I really do love that. Well, this is going to be spoiling my future Series 5 review. Spoiler alert, I like them, but, you know, they're not perfect, but they're not garbage. They are totally, like, they can punch above and at their body weight. But yeah, this is one of my favorite figures recently released from Valaverse. We've also got, from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, 2022, Commander Philip Graves, played by Warren Cole. I commissioned him shortly after the Modern Warfare 3 trailer. All of these were commissioned shortly after Modern Warfare 3 was revealed, just because I really wanted to have these characters represented on my shelf. He will also be appearing in my Task Force 282 series. You can't see from the bad decal job, but he does have 3 Shadow Company logo or patches, one on each magazine pouch, the Spade and Rook, as well as the Rook with the lightning bolts, as well as the single spade on his shoulder. He also comes with a grayscale Task Force 141 logo. In my continuity, this will be very important. He is on a stock, he's on the re-released Special Ops Soldier with an obviously custom head from Hot as Fuzz Customs. He carries a 1911 because in his bio it states that the 1911 is one of his favorite firearms, and he comes with the blacked out Desert Rat rifle with the laser box on the front end. He also his vest has also been modified to move the mag pouches up to the chest and the medic kit back down to the drop leg backing plate, just because I like how that looks a little better. And from one that uses pretty much entirely Valaverse parts to one that uses only a handful, we have Vladimir Makarov. And that is right, now that my memory is working properly, yes, these were all prior to the release of Modern Warfare 3, when the only shot we had of Makarov was in the trailer, where he was pretty much covered in shadow. But I knew I needed to have Mac a part of my shelf, and I knew it was about time I did it. I made sure to keep his appearance from... it's pretty much a hybridized design from the reboot and the original. In the reboot, actually, you can play as Makarov in the multiplayer, and he has an outfit similar to this, although it starts to get crazy designs all over as soon as you get kills. But the figure body is the Old Man Logan body. You can probably tell because Mac's head is actually slightly small. You can tell from how big Logan's shoulder or Logan's neck is, that it really wasn't meant for this type of figure. But that's okay because it's not gonna be really noticeable anyways unless you're like dead on looking at it. I also decided to give him the Arctic gear set plate carrier and drop holster and leg holster. Well, it wasn't really a leg holster, it was a belt holster at first, but it wouldn't fit around Makarov's waist and be properly hidden by the coat, so I decided to just straight up cut the belt off and glue the holster itself to his thigh. I will be adding straps sometime soon so that it's just not, really ugly looking right there. This was also my first time dyeing something, so I dyed, obviously, Makarov's hands, since they're since it looks like they're just kind of gangrenous. I dyed his rifle, which is mostly from the dye, but also mostly from painting, because I had to repaint it since it didn't go from a white to just a stark black. It just was in some sort of ugly gray. Same thing with his plate carrier. It didn't go totally from white and mint to black, but a lot of the parts did darken. Anything that I did need to fully wipe out, I did that with paint. He also carries 3 magazines, which are actually cut up from other plate carriers, not Sidewinder's kit. The spare pistol magazines, which are on his player model, as well as the Gerber strong arm knife that comes with this plate carrier. He also carries the multi-tool and small torch from the pistol belt. Overall, I'm really happy how this one came out, because of how heavy the modification had to be and how much paint I had to really use. I was not patient whatsoever, and I really wanted to get him done since I was so excited, and despite being a rush job, I am very happy with how he looks. So, that's awesome. And for anybody asking, yes, Alejandro will be done as well. I am just waiting on a figure body to come in. Oh my god. I have to fix your eyes, don't I? Well, I figured out something else I need to do. Fantastic. Yeah, no, you won't be able to see it anyways. It'll be too far away. I don't want to keep working at stuff, but I also do because I don't want to half-ass it. I want to use my whole ass on this. But on something I don't think I really half-assed, we have Valeria, El Sin Nombre, herself. Same thing as before, it's a Hot as Fuzz Customs head with a Valaverse plate carrier, which I chopped the mags off to get a flat look. I haven't detailed it yet, but that's only because I imagine it just being a battle-worn plate carrier. She carries a Mark II Toys AK-style rifle, as well as a Mark II Toys PP Bison, both painted black, along with a Valaverse female desert gear set drop leg holster, the Crimson Shadow weapon tin, 509 Edge, and the same Gear Packs knife with the standard Eclipse belt on a standard Eclipse body. The only real issue is that the legs are really, loose. So she will probably be on a stand for almost the rest of her days, but that's okay. We stand our wobbly queens. Oh, Christ. Next things next is actually something else I learned from another customizer, and that is you could take the helmet off of the figure pretty easily. I totally messed this up because I was literally playing with fire. And not only would you be able to take it off and put it on a normal head, but you would still be able to use the the gas mask. I can't remember who did it first, but I'll put it in the description if I can find it. But I totally messed this up. He shows how it is supposed to operate so much better than I can. But it's a pretty simple head mod too. Just a little bit of heat and just pry away, cut, and you'll be fine. I have the head actually still, and I filled that with clay recently, so I'm gonna work on sanding that down, making around, repainting it, and then I'll show it off. And now, onto probably one of my recent favorites. You probably see her in the back right here. This is Zombie Killer Eclipse. She comes with I decided to just load her out with gear. So, first things first. The baton and riot shield are from Super Action Stuff. They're Casket of Cruelty or Coffin of Cruelty, whichever one I can't remember which, but I'll put a link to that in the description below because it's freaking awesome. I pretty much decided I was trying to get a really nice deep red for the longest time, but my hobby acrylics just weren't cutting it. So, just out of desperation, because I don't have Blood for the Blood God from Citadel, I took a red frickin' Home Depot paint that I had, that I used for a different custom, which I'll show off in another video, painted it red where I wanted it red, and then just knocked all that down with a dark wash, with an ink wash. I think those worked out really good. It's also one of my handful of times working with soft goods again, with the bandages on the arm and leg, places where you would realistically encounter some scrapes and cuts. I had to cut her shema so that her other knife could sit cleanly on her vest. Also, I forgot to add a belt, so she just has two knives, like on her back and on her chest. Do not worry though, because the backpack sits nice and flush right against her back. I also have a random sort of pouch that was given to me from I can't remember their name, but I know it'll come to me in a couple seconds, as well as a spare Maxim 9 holster and pistol on the back. She also carries a ton, which all just popped onto the ground. Okay, well, I could swear there were more items in her bag. I guess there weren't. So she also comes with a third knife, because I felt like it. A smoke grenade. And a radio headset. All in her bag. And the radio headset doesn't totally fit. It bulges out to one side, but that doesn't really matter to me. It's going to be there will be pictures taken at different angles anyways. And the last few items to her kit, other than the mountain of weapons in front of you, is going to be the disguise head, which obviously has the same weathering as the scarf around her and her equipment, with this time just with the extra trimming. A satchel bag, a shoulder bag, with 2 more spare magazines from actually from an Arctic gear set, which I had to repaint and then weather accordingly. It doesn't totally fit, but it is close enough. And her original screaming head, because at the time I didn't actually have a standard Eclipse head, so I had to order a new Eclipse, which is how I was able to make Valeria. And then I immediately took this off because I like expression heads, don't get me wrong, but I also like having just a neutral face for everyday display. And since she has a little smirk on her face, she still has a little bit of personality to her. So it's not totally static. And I would put all of her gear on her, but that takes so much fucking time that it's just straight up not worth pausing for an hour. Like pausing my recording for an hour and trying to put her all the way together. But the thing is, you probably see that in the back there for a good minute. You can't really have a zombie slayer without a zombie to kill. So, in my order of heads from HFC Customs, he included a couple freebies, which includes this one. This is actually one of the male zombie heads. However, at the angle that it's at right now, you wouldn't really be able to tell. Something fell. It's an accessory. You wouldn't really be able to tell it apart anyways. So, the way it's sculpted, I mean. But yeah, this figure is the zombie. I made it from a female trooper body. So, this is the zombie. Sorry, the lighting was a little done there. As you can see, I did a similar thing with her. You can actually see some of the brighter paint in some areas where the wash didn't totally settle. But that's okay. That won't be seen anyways during photography. She is still fully articulated, with actually the exception being the head, because it's a fully hollow head. You can actually see the neck joint, if I can get the light properly. Trust me, you can see the neck joint through the mouth. I just wanted that head fully tacked on, and since I have her in this hunched over lunge anyways, it's not really going to affect much. I carved into her mostly with a hobby knife. I was a little too inebriated while making her to use a Dremel properly, or I didn't want to risk using a Dremel anyways, so I just straight up cut her open with a hobby knife, worked at it with some sandpaper and some sanding, some files, and got it to look like this. I also decided to customize the base a little bit, adding a dark wash as well as some bone fragments and blood. And I also made 3 little display pieces. Thank God that didn't crash onto the floor. Being a skull. I also modified a spare Sidewinder knife to fit right inside. And the skull itself, which admittedly is Lilliputian, has a peg hole on one side so that it fits onto the stand. And then I also have a piece of meat just for the zombie either to hold in a hand or to hold in her mouth or like bend down to look like it's eating it. I don't know. I just sort of made that. That was originally the hair piece for this head because it was bald, but I kind of messed up on it. So I tossed it aside, redid the hair, and I'm a tad more proud with how it turned out. And if you can see, there is a knife sheath on her back, so she might just be a tad unlucky. And from somebody who's just a tad unlucky to somebody who pretty much is the definition of Murphy's Law, we have a custom, a sort of custom. The figure itself is a custom build, but the character it is based on is an official character from the Call of Duty series, from debuting in Black Ops 6, his only title, William Case Calderon of the CIA. We never got to see Case's face through the entirety of the game, but I wanted something to represent that on my shelf, so I decided to make this to make this figure Case. This head also came in that order set, and I made sure to make sure that he can still have his full range of articulation. I decided, and since we could see Case's arms, we knew he was Caucasian. I just didn't know what color to make the hair, so I decided to go with just black hair all around and blue eyes, which I think turned out really, really good. Since Call of Duty is known for being more tactical than tactical, I added a Gerber strong arm knife to his vest right on the strap here. I added some spare aviators I had from a Sergeant Slaughter. I just folded them and glued them to the vest. And a CZ, one of the flat black ones from the Crimson Shadow tin, and a spare holster, and just glued that to where the magazine pouch would usually be by moving the mag pouch to where the medic bag would be and putting the medic bag on his thigh. As for his gun belt, it is a Arctic gear set, pistol holster, and a declassified gear set belt. The way I got the holster on was that I attached it with a piece of ribbon on the underside of the holster itself and looped that around the belt, gluing it and clamping it down so that it formed a full, firm grip. So that's how I got Case to look the way he does. Obviously, this isn't going to be everyone's mental image of the man. In fact, just because I felt like it, I actually added some black veinage around his arms, as well as up the side of his face into his left eye. That is because he is a test subject for the Cradle program in the game. Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't played it, considering it's only a month old. But I decided to also give him a handful of more accessories. So he has the Series 1 style MP5 SD with the, I believe that's an integrated laser on the scope with a folding stock, as well as the Series 2 M4 rifle with the red dot ACOG hybrid sight, the standard slide stock, plastic style magazine, vertical foregrip, late red dot laser box, and a can on the end. This is straight up my favorite configuration for an M4 rifle. It just screams Patriot to me, so I make this and Desert Rat's rifle in every Modern Warfare title, in every Call of Duty title since Modern Warfare 2019. So yeah, that's just how that works with my brain and these video game titles. I also made a small innovation in making sure that the sling was more mobile, so I just made sure to not accidentally glue it to the barrel, so now it swings pretty freely and can hang more naturally from the figure. And in the game where we first get our full glimpse of Case wigging out from the cradle bioweapon, I also gave him a spare gas mask, which can fit just right over his head. Behind the camera strength. Gotta pop off his head, I think. There we go. There we go. Throw the head back on. And there we are. The mask is fully on the figure. You can see his eyes right there. This is a spare gas mask from a tactical head pack. And since in the game, Case actually can use a variety of equipment, I gave him a backpack where he can also stow the aforementioned gas mask. It just hangs right there pretty freely and naturally. And in the backpack, we have a few accessories. We have 40mm grenades, a extra gas mask filter, and a spotter scope. Now, it's not every piece of equipment that I want in there. I'm definitely going to fit more when I find more. But that is pretty much how I have my version of Case. And that is Mr. William Case Calderon. Then I wanted to save my absolute favorite. Oh, wait a minute. I almost forgot about these. My Nova barrels. I just decided to make some Nova 6 barrels since, Black Ops 6 was coming out at the time. And, well, at the time, I mean like maybe a month ago. But, yeah, these were made solely for being Black Ops props. I was planning on doing that anyways, but with Black Ops arriving soon around the corner, I thought, hey, content. And finally, we have probably my favorite of the bunch, because he is pretty personal to me, Mr. Bones Malone, who will be in Task Force 282 as a pseudo-protagonist. As you guys probably read in his biography, he is an old-school trained mobster, and his son was murdered by Pandora's Devil's Grin firm in the Task Force 282 story. So he comes out of retirement, takes back control of his old organization, and calls the other mob heads that he's allied with and tells them, hey, I'm starting a war I'm joining Action Force in their war just because Pandora killed my kid. Either join up or stay the hell out of the way. And they decide, you know what, for old time's sake, they're getting the band back together. I will be making the other heads of the different mobs, but this is my absolute favorite. I don't know if what character the head is originally from. I want to say it's James Sunderland from the recent Silent Hill 2 remake. He's on the Mezco John Wick body. Thank God that the neck was actually made this way so that he could fit on the body. It was a freebie that I got with the Adler heads that he sent me that I purchased. And of course, this is a spare bone collector mask that I sort of rounded out a little bit and cut the teeth off of. I made sure it could fit to Malone via a rubber band, but it will hopefully not be permanent. I am probably going to invest in one of those elastic cloth straps. He also carries a Valorous Action Force Tommy gun. I will probably be replacing that with a Mezco Tommy gun, just because they have the drum mags available on those Tommy guns. So I like drum mags more for gangster type characters, and that's what he will be having. I have a holster from Resin Weapons, or Resin Armory. I bought this years ago. I bought a ton of them, so this is probably actually one of my last ones. I don't know if he still is in business or not, but I would love to buy more from him. As well as a custom holster sling for the pistol itself, which is the Mezco John Wick pistol. It goes all the way around and also has the same looping technique as the pistol for Case. However, this one is made to be loose, just to put it different places on the figure. He also carries his spare pistol mag in his coat pocket, which is not smart, but hey, this thing doesn't have pockets. And then just as an added sort of bonus thing for him, I made sure to modify John's trunk and added a bunch more weapons, including some from Mark II Designs, his G.I. Joe inspired, let me see if I can get this moved out of the way, his G.I. Joe cartoon inspired submachine gun down here, or I don't know if this is a real submachine gun, I just know it from G.I. Joe, so sorry I'm uncultured, an AK-47 style weapon, as well as a PP Bison style weapon. He also from his Mark II Designs shop, when I went to JoeFest 2023, I added a Mauser C96 pistol, the Valiver, not that from JoeFest, this revolver from JoeFest, and then he also got the spare Sidewinder 9mm, spare 45 ACP 1911, pardon me. And then I also threw John's hands in there as well. I also modified the top of the trunk to hold cleanly a Scar H assault rifle. And just so it doesn't rattle around, I have this wire bent into a specific position so that it can't easily wiggle the buttstock out. And since the John Wick trunk is actually kind of a tight squeeze, I have all of the weapons positioned in such a fashion. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention that I have a Terminator Uzi and a Valiverse MP5 SD Series 1 style weapon in there. And since the trunk is kind of a bitch to get everything to display nice and open, I have everything in such a fashion that one side is slightly higher than the other, so that I can always slide out one of the two trays in here. As you can see, oh, wait, that actually fits flush again. Why? Oh wait, I can just push on one to raise the other, right? Yeah, that'll probably... Well, they all fit now, nice and flush. But yeah, you can also see that I used some museum wax to hold down the grenades, the pistol magazines, and a cell phone for Bones to call, you know, either the other heads or his men or whatever. Because no pockets. But yeah, that is every part of Robles' Renegades this time. I will be doing a few more, including I will be doing another one, this time with a few G.I. Joe customs. So stay tuned for that. Thank you as always for watching. Thank you for following, subscribing, and following all the links below to support all the creators and businesses that I think are worth support, that I feel really should have some support behind them. Have a lovely holiday, a happy new year. Stay blue.